Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at Just Keep Swimming _podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you, and you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr. 1-3, dropping the hot beats for the city as always. So please make sure you guys keep up with his latest projects, because you always got some new fire for you guys. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about healthy distractions. So today I actually had a therapy appointment with my therapist, and one of the questions she asked me was, what are some healthy distractions that you're doing? And I kind of got caught off guard with that question, because I was like, what's a healthy distraction? I thought, all distractions could be bad for you. But then she had to explain that, some distractions are actually healthy for you and help you reset, while other distractions, they take away from your focus and make it harder for you to get back to what you're trying to do. And I really thought that was pretty deep. So I was like, that might be a great podcast episode for us today. And we're going to make it happen as always. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. One of the questions I want to ask is, what is a healthy distraction versus a unhealthy distraction? And two, why are we being distracted? So let's start off with number 2 first. So a distraction can be something that, takes you off of your current task that you're working on right now, whether it's work, whether it's cooking, whether it's, trying to relax or to go get some sleep or whatever it can be. A distraction can really throw you off your game, and, it could benefit you or it can unbenefit you. The question is how does a distraction make you feel after you are finished being distracted? So, let's go ahead and look at some healthy distractions. So some healthy distractions with some assistance from ChatGPT are, taking a long, short walk, or, some exercise, listen to a music or podcast that lifts you up or inspires you, journaling or writing down what's on your mind, cleaning or organizing a small space to get some sense of control, spending time with your friends or family in a positive, main word there, positive setting, practicing mindfulness, deep breathing meditations, doing a hobby like drawing, cooking, gardening, painting, whatever it may be, or taking a little nap, or giving yourself a real rest so you can reset. So those are distractions that, they benefit you. They're going to make you better. Getting out there, getting a little walk in, after a long day of work can help you reset and get ready for an evening so you can cook, clean, or do whatever you have to do for an evening. I find myself doing that at work all the time, actually. Like during lunch break, I could just sit in my office, but it's like, if I just sit in my office, I'm just going to sit there, probably scroll through my phone, not do nothing during this lunch break. Definitely being that it's a moment that I can pause and, just catch a breath because all the students are at lunch. So what I've been doing recently is just getting up and just walking to school a little bit and just peeping the lunch scene, you know what I'm saying? See who's doing what, what's happening around the school, run to some counselors or some of the hall monitors and just chat with them for a little bit just to say what's up, just to do a little bit just to get some fresh air, refresh myself, to get ready for the second half of the school day when it does start back up. That right there is a great healthy distraction. Another great healthy distraction I really love is music. Music is a great distraction for me. Definitely, while I'm in the office working, I find at times that, I just want some background noise. Just something to help get a vibe going so I can just get through the day a little better, It's not taking me away from my work, but it's just keeping my batteries charged and rejuiced as it's going on. So when there is a time where, I end up pausing in my thoughts and, just taking a deep breath and trying to relax, the music is there to just, give me a little vibe to come back to keep focus on, to keep flowing with, So, those are some examples of healthy distractions. So let's look at some unhealthy distractions. So some unhealthy distractions that we have is scrolling social media for hours without a purpose, binge watching shows or videos just to avoid your thoughts, emotional eating or drinking to numb stress, constantly checking your phone for validation, shopping or spending money impulsively, getting caught up in gossip or drama, overworking yourself so you don't have time to really think or feel, ignore responsibilities by saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm not worried about that right now. So as you can see, as I was going over the unhealthy distractions, a lot of it is to reduce something or to avoid something, avoid stress, avoid being emotional, avoid being in your thoughts, avoid having to take responsibility for something right now. And those are the distractions that actually hinder us. They stop us from moving forward and continue on with our goal, with our purpose for the task that we need to do right now. And, I find myself doing that at work as well. I know there's stuff I can do and I'm like, let me take a little break. And the next thing I know, I find myself scrolling through YouTube shorts for like 30 minutes. And it's like, well, look, one, my 30-minute break is gone. And two, I don't feel recharged. I just feel like I just stopped doing something and did something else that didn't benefit me either way, shape, and form. Walking to school benefits me because I get to interact with students, interact with other people, possibly get a new idea in my mind from talking from others from what they're trying to do. But just going through and just sitting there and just scrolling through social media, that right there could be a very unhealthy distraction. Definitely if you have stuff to do. A lot of times I find myself like about to cook, or just now before I record this podcast, I found myself scrolling a little bit, just watching videos on nothing that aren't benefiting me in any way, shape, or form, talking about the new video game that's coming out, or the best optics that people like to have in their guns. It's like, okay, I guess I kind of learned something, but this didn't benefit me any way, shape, or form for what I'm about to do with the task is coming to hand. And one of the things it said is just scrolling unmeaningly. So just scrolling with no task or no benefits, looking for any type of benefits. Yes, I truly understand if that is how we wind down at the end of the day. Now that can be a healthy distraction at the end of the day when all the tasks are done. I have nothing to do. I'm about to try to relax so I can go to bed. I'm just going to scroll for a little bit just to see what people have going on, what's funny, maybe find some reason to laugh. Sometimes scrolling can make me find a good laugh. Maybe I need type of laugh to just cheer myself up and keep going. But the goal is once I get what I need, let me stop. And a lot of times we don't stop. We just keep going. We just keep flowing. We just keep rolling, Even when it comes to talking with other people, like one of the things I wanted to point out was a healthy distraction is talking with friends in a positive atmosphere compared to talking with friends in a negative atmosphere, which usually leads to gossip, usually leads to people just talking down, and it actually brings your energy down and drains you more trying to hold up a negative atmosphere than it is trying to have a positive atmosphere. Like they always say, it takes more muscles to smile, or it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. So like when you're trying to hold on to the gossip conversation that you're having, and you keep throwing in your 2 cents, and then somebody else throws in their 3 cents, and now y'all have a whole dollar worth of cents that you guys are talking about. It's not going nowhere. At the end of the day, what is gossip good for besides passing unneeded information back and forth and possibly bringing down energy or bringing down somebody else, or, just talking down on somebody else, it's not beneficial. So that's one thing I want to make sure we focus on, is understanding what is our distraction doing to us. And, one thing we want to focus on too is how do we feel after the distraction, like, for example, if you go and you take a walk, but then after you take the walk, you don't feel relieved, you feel like you were just avoiding something, then maybe that walk was an unhealthy distraction at the time, because you took the walk to avoid what you need to do, and now you don't come back feeling refreshed and ready to go. You come back and be like, you know what, let me go take another walk, or let me take a nap now, or let me find another reason to keep myself distracted, and I think that's one thing that we all do too. We have like chain distractions. So you don't just start scrolling. You start scrolling, and then you start texting, and then you start doing something else that is unneeded at the time. Oh, you know what, let me start shopping and buying stuff, being that these people are promoting this product now, and now you're scrolling through the Amazon website and you're about to buy something that you don't need, or you don't have the money for, or whatever it is, and it's just like more impulsive, and I think that's one thing that like really stands out, is the word impulsive. A lot of our unhealthy distraction are impulsive distractions that we just do naturally without thinking about it. For example, coming home and taking a nap, that could be a healthy distraction to recharge yourself, to get yourself ready for the second half of your day. But just taking a nap for the hell of it, when you're not tired, you're not doing anything, you haven't done nothing, you like, I just want to take a nap, that right there was an unhealthy distraction. And trust me, I felt both sides of those. When I take a nap and then I wake up and then I have to go do something, I get up and go handle what I have to do, I'm glad I took a nap. But then there's other times where I take a nap and I'm like, that was a waste of a nap, because I woke up and I still don't feel refreshed. I feel anxiety. I kind of feel like, well, what was on my plate is still on my plate and I still need to finish it. And me taking a nap did nothing to benefit me any way, shape, and form, So it's like, why did I do that, And the feeling that you feel after the distraction can really help you understand if that distraction was a healthy distraction for you or not a healthy distraction for you. Was it an actual pause so you can refresh and recharge, or was it a true detour to take you off your path and go you down another route that is not benefiting you guys right now at all? Like, for example, getting ready for this podcast again, I went on ChatGPT and I kind of just Googled some ideas so I can come up with some talking points for you guys. And that was a healthy distraction, because I was using that to get ready for something. But then after I got my message together, I was like, let me scroll YouTube real quick. For some odd reason, I don't know why, I just decided to hit that YouTube button. And then now I'm scrolling through YouTube and I'm like, what are you doing? You need to get up and go do this podcast right now. Let's go do that podcast. And it was like, you know what? You're right. Let me do this. That was an unhealthy distraction at the time, So, just a lot of thoughts out there, definitely about distractions, and some things I just want you guys really to take away is, what is distracting you, and is it healthy for you at the time? A lot of times, maybe listen to a podcast, it could be a great distraction, but at the same time, if you go home and you're just watching podcast after podcast after podcast, and you're not really getting anything that's going to grow you out the podcast, but you're just catching up with the latest celebrity gossip and, gossip about how bad the president is or what's going on with the world, and you're just hearing all these, things that are just bringing you down. And then after you finish listening to all that, you just feel even more drained. That was not a good distraction. That was an unneeded task that you threw on top of yourself that just took away some energy for you, So I think the main thing to focus on is this distraction recharging me, giving me energy, bringing me back to life, or is it making me tired? Is it draining me? Is it having me lose focus and not coming back to what I need to focus on, And I think that right there is just a great topic for today, for sure. Definitely in the world that we're in, there's so many distractions, definitely with the holiday season coming up. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas, for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, family may be reaching out to you. Like, yes, some stuff you do need to communicate with to understand, yes, I'll be there this day, blah, blah. But then once it starts getting to unneeded things that are being spoken on, you can remove yourself from that conversation, because you don't need to sit there and be distracted. We have too many important things on our plate right now to be getting distracted by things that are meaningless, that aren't going to improve our lives, improve ourselves, and just improve the situation that we're in right now. So let's try to figure out what distractions are good for you, what distractions aren't good for you, and let's try to separate those and just focus on having good distractions for sure. Again, I've kind of feel like it's the time of day. At the end of the day, I love to sit down and watch me a good comedy show and just laugh definitely before I go to sleep. But the show becomes a distraction when I pass the bedtime that I set for myself and I'm still up watching the show and my eyes are dry and I know I need to go to sleep, but I'm forcing myself watching the show. Now I'm distracting myself from healing, from recharging, from truly getting better back so I can get ready for another day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that resonated with you guys today. I hope it makes you guys think a little bit about what is distracting me? Is it a good distraction or is it a bad distraction? Is it a distraction taking me away from my task, or is it a distraction that is making me charged up and more ready for the task at hand? And I think if we can start answering those questions, we can really start to change the dynamics of our life and really start to get us to where we need to be at in life. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my message for this week. I hope it resonated. If it did, again, always reach out to us. We truly appreciate all the support as always. Thank you so much for all the many donations we're receiving for the podcast. We're working on right now to get some new equipment for you guys so you can hear my voice a lot clearer, a lot purer, and just, give you guys a better product. Because if I can increase my product, I just pray it increase my viewers, my listeners. So if this podcast did help you guys out today, please share it with a friend. Please share it with a family member, a co-worker, shoot a stranger on the street and just let them know, hey man, you're distracted. You should probably listen to this and learn the difference between your distractions. But yes, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming.